Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the 2026 PK Scramble Tournament. I'm Jay Tolmar. I made this. I'm solo commentating. And today we have mcmcgurk versus Obi. I'm going to go ahead and let them start. And we should be off in about 15 seconds. Hope everyone in chat's doing great today. And everyone give a shout out to Temple, who's doing the restream here. You can tell Temple's doing the restream because it's much more professional than when I do the restream. So I hope we all have a great time watching this. Please ask questions in chat because I'm doing this solo and I need someone to bounce off of. And it looks like we are off. So this is the first round of this tournament, second day of matches that we have had. The flags for this stage of the bracket are insert generated enemies. That's why there was a giant rat outside. And one of the favorite flags of everyone there ever was, teleport anywhere. Now that's teleport from anywhere, not teleport to anywhere, so that means that you can teleport indoors, not that you start with all the teleports. It looks like we got a lot of those inserted enemies up here on Onit Hill Climb. There's a big old rat. Looks like McGurk knows that a big old rat is something you can stutter. I don't even know that off the top of my head. And there's a coil snake. I do know you can stutter those. That's vanilla. But Gurk decides not to, and instead steps in the snake, and Obi takes a look at that giant rat. It's a delinquent stoat. I'm sorry I said it's a rat. That is bad understanding of exactly what kind of rodent that was. Are stoats even rodents? I don't know. We don't have them over here. The meteorite is the key to the shack. That is a sanctuary item, but not progression. So we're still looking around for that, and I didn't even look what Buzz was. Buzz. Gurk's going into Liar's Shack last. This looks like it could be a little bit slower, but because you get to teleport out of here, if you know the secret alignment, and it's teleport anywhere, this is a little bit faster to do it this way. I think Gurk's the one who came up with the setup for this, and that's also a Dalam teleport. You like to see that. That's always a kid check. A little bit biased towards Pooh as well, so I'm gonna bet that it's Pooh. And Dalam's very pink today. Something about the color rando I use makes the pinks very pink, and it's not Pooh, it's Jorfrey. Jorfrey comes with an item, so that's not so bad. And a hieroglyph copy, and... Gurk, menu is so fast. Look at the hieroglyph copy over on Jorfrey. And teleporting out of the throne room, very rude. Actually, kind of surprised it's not a teleport alpha. That seems like something that one of these super fancy runners who do all their actual practicing would be able to do. Obi is just a few seconds behind. Oh yeah, Launcher, that's a good point. It is the hieroglyph copy, that's wonderful. Looks like it's going to be a good season. We haven't seen Tenda yet, but we've seen most of the rare stuff. Oh, Franklin badge. You like to see that early. Actually, I think it's like slightly disadvantageous to see it early, but hey, at least you won't get hit by thunder. And Obi and Gurk are in the same spot, selling the same kid's prized possession for money. At least that's, I assume, what they're doing getting that to do. Travel charm in the box, that's pretty useless. Selling a counter PSI unit? Why, you're not going to use that for its roughly 50% chance to work on a basic enemy and 0% chance to work on a boss? Sheep bracelet in here, and was that a slingshot? Looks like a little bit about divergence, and we found out what the Buzz teleport was. It is Scaraba, which is open because we have the hieroglyph copy. Also a decent chance at being slightly better items. Meanwhile, Gurk is trying the sharks. They look a little bit spicy, but pretty doable. And Obi found something at the arms dealer, but I don't know what. Yeah, cool. The Counter PSI unit is one of the luck-based items. It's based on the Defender's luck stat. Every enemy in the game has one. Regular enemies are somewhere between 0 and 40. Bosses are somewhere between 40 and 80. And it rolls from 0 to 40, and if it's higher than the luck stat of the enemy, it'll make them unable to concentrate, which is actually a pretty powerful thing to do if you can do it reliably. But the stuff you'd want to do that to are a bunch of specific bosses that have too high of a luck stat for it to ever actually work. So it's basically a useless item. All of the luck-based ones are, because they just really don't have a very high hit rate. And thank you, Uko, for the raid. Turn in the hieroglyph copy. We hear Sphinx lamentations about the passing of the ages, and we go into the pyramid. Cold remedy in here, which is actually probably useful because this is the pyramid. And I see that there are some enemies in unusual spots. One of the side effects of insert-generated enemies is that to insert them, it has to turn on the enemy shuffler, even if it's just a little bit, so enemies are still in the spots where they're supposed to be. These are all pyramid enemies, unless we get a generated one. But it doesn't manage to put them exactly where they are, so they'll be something other than hieroglyphs in the hieroglyph slot. So they're just things that don't blend into the wall quite as well as they could. But I don't think anyone's fooled by any of those anymore. It's kind of a thing that surprises you once when you're a kid playing this for the first time, or an adult playing this for the first time, or a little old lady playing this for the first time. That's right, get your grandmother to play PK Scramble. Pyramid is very long. I'd really like to add this to Bridge Dungeons, but the shape of it makes it very difficult. And we have Thunder and Storm. They don't have a lot of HP, and this is one of the slots where they get scaled to less HP, so I expect that this will be basically nothing. Yep, that was basically nothing. It's like Obi did not stock up on bottle rockets, so it will take slightly longer than basically nothing. But yeah, Fizzing Zip Zap attack is not a very high scale version of Thunder. This goes by pretty smoothly. Both runners, very understandably, opting not to loot the chests down there. That room is just full of stuff. I don't know why they made that room so full of stuff, but they did. And the arachnids are very low scale. They're giving the can't concentrate instead of poison, because if you got poison here, you would not be able to heal it. Obi's found the actual enemies you normally see the most of here, instead of the kind of backwards ones we got all day. And that's a wad of bills. I don't think we have Tucson yet, so that's useless, but it could lead to a bunch of stuff if we find Tucson, which we might, because it's a teleport check very soon. I think we don't have Deep Darkness yet. It's very early in the seed, so we're going to have to see if the runners decide to go down to Deep Darkness. If Deep Darkness is required and not a teleport, then walking all the way back through the pyramid to get there really stinks. But if you skip, if you dip out and don't do Dungeon Man, that is a lot faster. And there's the bear. Bear, everyone. Saturn Valley teleport. I don't think that's actually progression yet. Is it? Ooh, red swirl from the bear for McGurk. And it's a sepia grizzly. Doesn't look very sepia to me. That looks kind of a shade of blue. But the enemy generator just does not know this sort of thing. What was that? Oh, kinda sepia grizzly. No, that's not kinda. That's not all sepia. Sepia is not a shade of blue. Not even kinda. It's a lot of bears in the desert. McGurk decides not to go for the vendor up there because there's too many bears. Or maybe because he just wants some money. Looks like it was money, not bears. I see. Obi's also heading into Dungeon Man. Let's see if he's doing a similar thing. Oh, there's some Belch-like enemies in here. There's still some Belch-like enemies in here. Not managing to despawn these Belch-like enemies. Alright. And Obi is not going to be doing anything extra. Oh, there's a Bionic Slingshot and a Trick Yo-Yo up there. McGurk seems to know which one of those is better. I sure don't. And Obi's instead electing to just head on through Dungeon Man. There's a lot of chests in here. Unlike in vanilla, there's no like rhyme or reason to what chest might be good. There's a whole sign in here that says, "Oh, a chest that's further down the path is probably better than one that's right there." But that one that's $5 in vanilla that's right on your path, that could be the best item in here. Rando is not programmed with that kind of knowledge. Uko, usually the more expensive one's better, but I don't know if that applies to yo-yos and bicycling shots. The Gutsy Bat is cheap, so who knows? Lots of slimes down here. Got the enemies in the zoo. Obi talks to face. Scratch that guy's nose. You have to scratch his nose and scramble because I couldn't come up with a way to make the Dungeon Man plotline make any sense when you could encounter him in either order, so I just pretended they were different guys. Pretty good items in here. Zip guns, coin slumper. A bunch of stuff that made those yo-yos irrelevant. And Obi is getting through to the submarine. I actually have no idea what currently is progression. I guess it has to be sharks, right? Because I don't think they had any progression item. One. I guess that's Tessie. Sure. The tiny gray mechanical Tessie is on screen. So everyone get your tiny gray mechanical Tessie emotes. I didn't even notice how green that desert was until just now. That is very not mechanical bong transplant. That is quite a biological Tessie you've got there. Obi opting for the monkey item. That's kind of fun. I never see anyone go for this. I don't even remember what this is programmed to do. I think it might have a Jeff combat item as a good chance. If this is like a bazooka or something, that'd be great. I guess it looks more like a submarine top. What kind of submarines you people are riding to work? Repel Sandwich. Not a bad pickup at all. Maybe this will become the meta. There's also, of course, the travel locations. If you have those memorized, they do get scaled. McGurk is doing a fun little graphical glitch, and Obi is checking the one present you can get that is in the deeper scaling of Deep Darkness. That's always a good pickup. Because it's past where you need the Hawkeye. You need the Hawkeye, giant air quotes, to get that far in, then it is scaled past the Hawkeye. Could be pretty far. But it was just Gold Bracelet. That's a little bit further, but still quite in the overall logic. And the sharks are a lot tamer now that we have some levels and items. So Gurk is just breezing through those, and I bet Obi will be shortly as well. Gurk is really taking this mole seriously. Oh, it actually did last a round, so I guess actually using Bottle Rocket was worthwhile. Yeah. Was worth doing Pyramid first. And we have Frank, just slightly out of position and slightly dead. Not even as dangerous as a mole. Gurk's gonna teleport out, not even taking the heal, and I didn't see what the item was. That's right, Cat, it's Frank. You're gonna have to guess someone else if we see who the assistant is. Oh, it's Meteorite Piece down there. Better not forget that that's Meteorite Piece. Obi's opting for the heal. We'll see if he decides to bounce out. Oh, Gurk just teleported to Oneb. Is that faster? Or maybe he just forgot that he also had Sudden Valley, and this is actually logical progression. I don't think I've seen Meteorite Piece as progression in quite a while. there is a teleport behind it. It is not just for getting to Gygus. So for anyone who doesn't know, you just have to go into any room and back out to make this phase sort of get completed. In vanilla, you do need to sleep somewhere. Any place you can sleep will count. In Scramble, I could not figure out how that sleep script works. It is a long piece of spaghetti code. I was very deep into making this thing at that point, so I just did something easier. And that is the secret reason why you can just walk in and out of a door to trigger that. And we're going to the Cave of the Past in the present, and it's very cool music. And Gurk is skipping the check, going straight to the item. That's kind of funny. I don't think there's any good reason to do that. And we're going to find out, I think this is the only progression forward, so it's got to be 3'd. That means that wad of bills from earlier is completely useless, but Pyramid was not, because it had the meteorite piece that we needed to get here. So there's only one thing useful in Pyramid instead of 2, and we are on to 3'd. Again, still trapped in this linear logic. Nothing has broken us out into having multiple choices. So this kid check could be something. This pile of reptiles attacking McGurk is probably going to have a fan in the audience. And McGurk loses consciousness. And who's it going to be? It's Pooh. Right. Pooh is actually progression inherently, because we already have Dalam. Pooh can go do the meditation sequence, pick up a teleport. But Pooh also has an item, which was, is that a carrot key? It is not very useful. We are still completely bottlenecked in linear. This is going to be, yeah, whatever teleport that is where you can get the next thing, right? Because we just have Sank items and a wad of bills. Oh, we also have, McGurk is a little more heads up than me. Did come up with one other play besides the meditation sequence, heading over to the tent, because the tent wants to eat Jeff. And as the tent says, Georg. Oh, is he gonna? Oh, got zombie dogged. Double dang dogs. Like I mentioned earlier, the spawns are in the right areas, but because insert generated enemies is enabled, they can be slightly out of place, slightly different numbers. This is actually just enabling all of the logic for one of the shuffled enemy settings. It just shuffles them back to where they belong. And that is how it manages to have room for... is there a dog sprite every... Oh, there's a dog behind it. I was wondering why I kept seeing a dog every time they attacked that. Yeah, so that's one of the reasons... I've completely lost my train of thought. It doesn't matter. Key to the cabin. Don't have access to that. So we are back into linear logic land. Ooh, Gurk's using one of the full heal spots. Back before the easy deaths setting was developed, this actually used to be kind of meta to either go here or Saturn Valley to get your full heal. Kind of interesting they both decided to go here instead of Saturn Valley. If you need the life up, then I think this one's faster, and if you don't, then I think Saturn Valley's faster. Also, I'm pretty sure this guy has a full heal, so we can skip that. I actually talked to that guy, and we can get a full heal that way. Meditation sequence coming. All the challenge ruined by holding the Y button. If anybody has been running this and does not know about the Y button, you can hold the Y button and it will mash for you. It'll only stop at menu questions, so it's completely safe, and you just have to know what the next menu is and mash that in something menu heavy like this. And it should be like as fast or faster than you could ever get by mashing, even with a turbo controller. It's just like baked in. It's like if you're holding Y, that counts as pressing the button. Tucson! Oh, now we can use that wad of bills. Not that that would be helpful. What even is in Tucson? Is it just Apple Kid? Are we still just completely bottlenecked? Gurk's going to take a sanctuary roll in here. I think that makes sense. It's a very slight hike to get down here, so might as well just clean this out. And these difficult guys do not look very difficult. Obi instead is going to do site cleanup later, so we have tiny route divergence. And Kirk almost managed to actually hit a teleport there by threading that needle too well. Obi used Teleport Beta to get out of there, and I sure can't use Teleport Alpha out there, but there is a little trick you can do in that spot. You can Teleport Beta before you get to where there's enough room, and just kind of use the tiny amount of steering that you have for Teleport Beta to walk over there. There's enough room to, like, do that, and it'll still work out. Obi's in Bergman Park. Average Rad E is a Sprout. Obi's giving that a wide berth. And McGurk is taking on Carbon Dog. Everyone likes to see Doggo. The very first PK Scramble Weekly had a bug where Diamond Dog was not scaled at all, and the average red slot was Carbon Dog, Diamond Dog, and the meteorite piece. So everyone just got to the very last check that they needed, and then it was, oh, full strength Diamond Dog. But back then everyone who was running this was like also an ancient cave runner, so they were used to horrible things happening. Oh, Obi's opting in to do the Sprout. I didn't see what Apple Kid's item was. So this is out of logic. It could be doable. It could be absolutely horrible. If it's doable, though, there's going to be, you know, rewards for doing it. It is looking pretty far on the horrible side. We see paralysis, we see 100 damage, melee attacks from those Octobots. We see a forfeit. Yeah, it's worth taking a check. That actually probably is doable if you, like, full send it, you're really good at the menuing, you come in prepared. I don't think it's worth it, but you could actually probably pull that one off. Don't know where Obi's going yet. Looks like a miss menu. Was the item pencil eraser? Not even randomized? McGurk is throwing the luck capsule. Oh, no, never mind. I was going to say throwing the luck capsule on the ground, but this is like the one case where there is actually a use for a luck capsule, is feeding Apple Kid. And McGurk gets the meme call. How mysterious. Obi didn't get the meme call. Does anyone know what triggers the meme call? Grumpy Cat is the dumbest meme that McGurk knows. Obi is going into one of the worst areas in the game. The first area in the game that I would argue qualifies for worst area in the game status. And McGurk confirms for me that that was the pencil eraser. Obi's not just going over here to stretch his legs. There is a reason. And we might actually have some opening up of the seed once we finally get over here, because they have both of the items to clear out this area. So we should actually get 3 checks in here, and if Paula is in the cabin, then that also opens up a check. So finally, more than one place to go in this seed. We'll be taking the high road, pick up this treasure chest, and it's Casey Bat. Drop in the Casey Bat. Lovely shade of red in that water, very appropriate to this game, or this area in vanilla. Oh, 2 UFOs. Unlike vanilla. The enemy randomizer settings are allowed to put up to 1 more enemy in a group than there is in vanilla. So that's why we sometimes get these two enemies. Because once again, insert generated enemies makes a little bit of enemy randomization get enabled. That snake is, I think that's the snake from Fart Cave, but once again, tiny bit of enemy rando outside of its natural habitat. Gurk is electing to do cabin first. I think that's probably the right order to do the stuff in here. Oh, it's Flying Man. Hawkeye is useful progression, and probably Paula, and Flying Man is just a useful bird to have on your team. Looks like we have a pretty good chance of having a 6-member party soon, so that's fun. And Gurk's gonna teleport out of here. That looks like a really mean fight. I don't know what those unassuming local guys are doing, but I don't think it's anything good. And because we've already done that area, we're not going to have, or because we've already done Peace Horse Valley, we're not going to have any pokey climbing up a mountain to attack you. So, good time to bounce out of that. Bomb is useful. Oh, yeah, this is technically an enemy rando, so the cultists fade away when you talk to them instead of walking to the side. That's because of a bug where the demonic petunias would walk to the side, but not far enough, and then you get soft locked in here. So whenever any sort of enemy rando is enabled, they just kind of flicker away. And it is Kraken. Something that actually has lightning. The plot makes sense. Looks like Obi just dipped without even doing the cultist house. It's kind of interesting. Might have forgotten that there's a Pringle badge, or might have just decided to go pick up Paula before doing anything. If it is Paula. Could be the teddy bear. Jar of Fly Honey, that is progression. It's actually pretty good progression. That'll unlock Foresight at this point. And Gurk is also into the deep dark. So this is teleport anywhere, so they can teleport anywhere. And one of the things you can do with that is dodging enemies. Not that you wouldn't do that in vanilla. It's like the most popular place to teleport dodge anything. Oh, but Obi's gonna get pickled. You gotta approach that box from the bottom side if you don't want to have your photo taken. There's only a handful of photographers left in PK Scramble. They are whichever ones were left when I just set all of the photo taken flags to true and hoped that that would be enough to disable them all. It got most of them. There's an eel. That eel was very on Obi. And some fish for Gurk. Oh, I think that's Manly Fish's brother. Watch out. That's Manly Fish's brother. They don't look like they're scaled enough for this to actually be a problem. I think Lantro got Manly Fish's brother in the first day of this. They do have Healing Omega. They're the only enemy that has that. Can be a very rude surprise sometimes. And it's the other mole. Mole's hitting pretty hard, but it's probably not going to be a big deal. It is still just it's just Mondo Mole. We are far enough into the seed that enemies that attack you by attacking you are not really that threatening. Looks like we're equipping Paula with some stuff. On Gurk's side, we'll see if Obi does similarly. A lot of runners like to put all of their repels and key items on either Pooh or Paula. Personally, I'll go for whichever one of them I get first. Ness's inventory always ends up a disaster because he's the default character and also needs gear. Jeff's, of course, ends up as a disaster because you want to fill that full of explosives. Gurk is going to remember to take the save. Oh, actually, it doesn't even have the item, doesn't matter. Always remember to save when you go there. There's about a 1 in 200 chance, this isn't official stats, this is just my guess, that it crashes there. We finally have some idea why it crashes when you do this. There is a stack overflow. Earthbound uses a stack in its assembly. Whenever you turn an item into an NPC, this is the only place where that happens, and there are people moving around in the cutscene at the same time. We don't know why it doesn't crash in vanilla, but sometimes crashes in Scramble, but almost never crashes in Scramble. That is still an open question. We have a tiny bit of info why it happens. It's just that there is a programming error in vanilla that somehow never crashes there. And Gurk is on to the Brooklyn Park check. Makes sense. It's like Obi's heading there too. Child of Woolly Octobot. Pretty mean sprout. It's got actual paralysis. Of course, that paralysis is not as bad as the diamond eyes that Vanilla Sprout has. PK Scramble will never give you a boss that has a status effect that you wouldn't have if you were following the logical level you're supposed to be at. Wouldn't have the ability to heal. Vanilla Earthbound just does. Like, it'll paralyze you when you have nowhere near the ability to heal it. Vanilla Earthbound is just kind of mean sometimes. That's a zombie paper. That is not useful. Once again, we are going to get filed into just one way to go. Looks like it's got to be Belch Base. But McGurk is going to talk to this Mon and have a bunch of items. This is behind the Berglund Park boss, so these items are going to be current scaling, which tends to work out pretty well. I saw Night Pendants in there. I think that's slightly past the OK Pendant, depth-wise, if you're searching for your OK Pendants. This first Night Pendant in Vanilla is in Moonside. Wait, no, it's right before OK Pendant. Wait, no, sorry. OK Pendants, as you obviously know, are in Vanilla in the Dusty Dunes shop. Now that's a lie, because there aren't any OK Pendants in Vanilla, but they are scaled as if they were in the Dusty Dunes shop. So, the Moonside is after Dusty Dunes, so Night Pendant is after OK Pendant. Looks like Gurk's gonna do some Sanctuary clear out. Wondering if this is... oh, they might actually just have enough Sanctuaries and this is Go mode and they haven't been counting. Actually, I think it is. I was going to say this could just be thinking about what to do next. Giant Step is very popular for when you don't know what your next move should be. But now that I think about it, there actually are 4 available Sanctuaries. This is Go mode. Anyone who prefers to do 5 Sank, I don't think it's going to be a very good seed, because next up is just all of Foresight and Dusty Dunes, like tons of open checks. Any one of them could be another Sanctuary, but it's a lot of them. I think Obi's taking the wrong path. Obi, it's the other one. Yeah, that guy. All right, Sank clear for Gurk. Don't think he did Lilliput Stamp, so I have 2 more to go. Yeah, Leslie, it's not guaranteed that there's going to be a Sank item at all in there. And in fact, there's just no guarantee whatsoever that the 5th Sank item is anywhere reasonable at all. So the way that the only guarantee there is that once Logic is finished with everything and it's figured out where everything is, it's going to check what level Gygus is, or if it's some non-Gygus thing, whatever the end boss is. And it's going to check, is this like reasonable for a Force Sank? Um, so, we expect a Force Sank to be about half of an Earthbound, a little more than half. Um, and just look at these moles. So you expect a Force Sank to be a little bit more than half of an Earthbound. Not, 80% of an Earthbound, but it is logically possible to have a Force Sank that is 80% of an Earthbound. So a little known flag, safe end boss levels, we'll see, hey, what level did that end boss get scaled to? And of course the end boss will be scaled rather high if you have to do 80% of the seed to get there. And if it says that, it'll just re-roll the seed. So that's like why these seeds are never, ludicrously long. Um, and that doesn't just not apply to 5th Thank and 6th Thank items. Those could be immediate, they could be, giant wild goose chases. And during that entire rant, we have cleared out Lilpit steps on both sides. I think that's 2 Sanks remaining for Obi and 1 for Gurk. One of the things I really like with Teleport Anywhere is when you teleport Beta out of Lilliput steps, your little circle that you do is like exactly the size as those steps. I find that very satisfying. Gurk is teleport alphaing, ruining my point. How dare you, Gurk? And Gurk's gonna go do Belch Base. You gotta do this to get to the Sanctuary. It's actually like one of the longer Sanctuaries to do in the game because you actually have to do 2 whole dungeons to get through it. Obi has a chance to use Teleport Beta and prove to everyone that the size of the little circle you do is about the size of those steps there. Come on, Obi. Thank you, Obi. See, they're like the same size. Isn't that satisfying? Because a random enemy flag is enabled, it actually does the checking for NPC enemy rando, which means that the NPC enemies can be affected by spawns being on or off. Or sorry, by the spawn rate flag. So it's 60% spawns in PK Scramble, which means that there is a 60% chance that any NPC enemy will still be in, and that slime that checks you at the start was not in. Wow, Gurk just got nailed by kind of a bad call from the red soil detector. It looks like I miscounted how many Zanks Obi's done. It looks like Giant Step wasn't there. So Gurk's got a pretty sizable lead here. We got some moderately beefy Foppies, but nobody really minds having to take a Foppy fight because there's so much experience. How's that a green swirl? Alright, that's a green swirl, everyone. And it's heavily armed Pokey. I could see Pokey hanging out in a place like this, in a room like this. Yep, belching a lot is definitely something that Pokey does. It feels like they belch even more in PK Scramble because you always have instant text on, so they just get those belches very quickly. Alright, final Sank for Gurk. Purple Milky Well. Very serene. I would go somewhere with purple grass. I think that would be just kind of a nice place to go. Sword of Kings, that's kind of fun. Nice semi-final item here. And final sank boss is Electrospectre. That's 4 Sanks for Kirk. Probably going to be a 4 Sank seed, so we're going to be heading on to Gygas. And that means it's time for everyone who is in chat to let us know who Gygas' assistant is going to be. Now, I don't want any of this counting how many legs stuff. That's way too easy. I want exactly which boss it is. Kraken has been done. We really do need to have a repeat bosses flag. I think that'd be funny. Oops, all Krakens. Baby Barf, the first actually possible guess in here. Well, have we got anything other than Baby Barf? Master Belch is possible, as far as I remember. I'm gonna count Boss Has Wheels as specific. I guess I have to, right? There's only one of those. Wait, those are treads. Looks like no OK pendants if I was keeping track correctly, so that's a little bit scary. And Gurk's gonna go ahead and just stock up on those Horns of Life. Makes lots of sense. My recommendation is to give everyone one, and then give Ness and Paula as many more as you can get. If you really want to be safe, Piggy Jelly on everyone is also quite useful. Having that extra large HP heal without having to rely on Ness and Pooh being around is actually quite useful. Gurk's checking the other shops, but this was super early, so that is not a very good shop. And Gurk is on to the Cave of the Past and the Present. And Obi gets the meme call. Loot. Loot. Makes sense. Right. And our bulk robotomy scene. Oh, Gurk's doing the meme. You might have blinked and missed it there, but so actually a vanilla thing when Andonet says, you know, are you ready? Whatever, does his whole speech, press the button, do it by your own hand. You can say no, and then he'll ask the player, and then if you say no, he'll ask Ness, and if you say no, he'll ask the player. In Scramble, it'll cycle through all the characters in your party. They all can say no. He's mean about it if Jeff says no, of course, because it's Antonets. And if you get to Flying Man, Flying Man will never say no. Flying Man just ready for this sort of thing. Oh, that is a green swirl, all right. On to the Cave of the Past, in the past. Ooh, a nice pink Kraken. Everyone likes to see it, except whoever's running this, because it is actually a rather dangerous enemy. Hey, maybe we'll get that 1 in 128 drop. Maybe we'll get to that 1 in not very much party wipe. Oh. Is there going to be a drop? There's not going to be a drop. That's very unlikely. Drops are not scaled up at all. They are adjusted by the rando. It'll be scaled. So probably wouldn't even be the guts of that. And moving on through the Cave of the Past and the Past into the Gygas Brain Room. Last chance for who your guess is going to be. Anyone who has not said. We've got a Baby Barf, a Master Belch, I'm gonna count that as a Frankenstein, even though he doesn't have wheels. And I don't think it's going to be the Kraken, but I could be surprised. I don't know how, but I could be surprised. Some sort of robot is not specific enough. Oh, I didn't guess. A carpenter. And it's Boogie, who looks very funny in this scene. I don't think anybody guessed that, so according to the saying, the Apple of Enlightenment could never have predicted this. Right, so the stuff coming in here was pretty scary, so I kind of expect this to be a pretty scary Gygus as well. Looks like Gurk is stopping and thinking and using the items, taking this seriously. So I think Gurk agrees. This looks like a pretty scary one. We have full strength PSI cats. Not what you like to see in the BBR. We have a Flying Man with that 50% chance of glory, 50% chance of disaster. You usually like to have that Flying Man fall over before you get here, but you don't have that much control over such a thing. Oh, there was a Flying Man disaster. Reflected straight into Ness. Looks like Ness is taking a beating. And there was a weakened PSI Rockin', PSI Cats. And Gurk is on to the second phase and a little bit bruised. Let's see if he has enough revive items to stabilize. This is a phase where Flying Man is really good, so this could be helpful. Right. Looks like somewhat stabilized. Can be a spicy Gygus. Is that a paralysis off of a flash? That's rough. Right. On to phase 3. Well, you do not want to have Flying Man on this phase. I don't know if Gurk's even high enough level for that to matter. The reason you don't want Flying Man is because Brain Shock will not stick while Flying Man is beating Gygus. Mayor Perkle prayed for Lewis and his friends. Thank you, Mayor Perkle. Shout out to anyone named Perkle in chat. I think that's the last thing for Obi. If Gurk wipes to Gygus, this will be tied up. So this is not settled by any means. This is a pretty mean Gygus. Scaraba Market Sellers prayed for Lewis and his wallet. Thank you, Scaraba Market Sellers, and your camel. And the brain shock's in? Was that because, oh, no, Flying Man's back to normal, or Gygus is back to normal. See, that's why you don't want to have Flying Man in this phase. Those brain shocks do not last. And Gygus is actually pretty unlikely to knock over Flying Man. That freeze attack doesn't work on him. See, you see, did not work on Flying Man, right there. Everdread played for Sugar and her friends. Thank you, Everdread. Ooh, that's not good. That's just not good. Looks like we got a confused character over there. Ooh, no, that's not a good confuse. I'm gonna have to stop and take this a little bit careful. Some people at the Onnit Library prayed for Lewis and his friends. Thank you, some people at Onnit Library. I just saw Gurk almost menu to defend on Paula. That tells you how rough this is. Ooh, double thunder to Ness. You don't like to see that. Eagleland's for-profit health system paid for the kids to be only mostly beaten up. Thank you, for-profit healthcare system. I guess. Still a bit of stabilizing here. Really would like to be able to brain shot Gygas and make this free. Oh, there goes Flying Man twice. Not enough to knock him over. Still a problem. The only Gygas attack that can knock over Flying Man is that Thunder. Venus prayed for Lewis and his friends. Thank you, Venus, Keyboard, and the saxophonist. On to the final two prayers. Let's see if the bitrate can keep up. Usually, a modern encoder can handle this, but not in the scene that's coming up afterwards. Absorbed by the darkness. And a bulk lobotomy for Obi. It looks like Gurk has this in the bag. Gurk has this in the bag. Everyone get your GGs for Gurk. Official time is coming up, but there's not enough time for Obi to snipe this at this point. Gurk will be advancing on to the next round. Obi will be also advancing on to the next round, but in the danger bracket. Here's the part where it usually is actually ripped bitrate, even with nice new encoders. This one's a little spicy. Alright, anybody who is just trying to bounce as soon as the fight's over, do not do so. We have another matchup coming very quickly. I think we're going to go ahead and let Obi finish this one out. But we have Charging Chargles, Black Sesame Seed, Bullet William, whatever his name is, versus Uko. She'll be same exact flags, different complete runners. However that sentence was supposed to work. There's McGurk's official time right there. And we can pull him in. Hello, Gurk. Congrats on the win. How do you feel?
Not too bad. Went pretty well.
That was quite an it was a rough guy, I guess. It was a rough cave of the past.
Yeah, that I mean, I used one of my sandwiches in what is it? Milky Well, cuz I hate getting mushrooms there, thinking I would get one from the Thankful Saturns, and did not get one. And I figured I'd be able to teleport around, and boy, that Kraken was a thing, wasn't it?
The Kraken was a lot. You did a good job of patching yourself up afterwards, but Gygas was pretty rough as well, and Flying Man was also giving you some trouble there.
Yeah, I didn't find any okay pendants, and yeah, unfortunately the freeze was enough to just wipe Paula.
Yeah, that's very...
On even from full health.
Yeah, and the brain shock doesn't stick.
So that was scary. Right, yeah, that was, as soon as I did it, it's like, oh, wait, never mind.
I was thinking, like, maybe you can, like, spam it and hope it sticks in. It looks like there's another Kraken fight for Obi. So this is exactly the same fight that you ran into.
Oh, man, they're so mean.
I think a Shambler was on the left for you. I don't know what's up with that, but otherwise it's the same fight.
Yeah, I was really hoping I'd find a fifth Thank, but I didn't look. I just didn't look at the credits just now to see how quickly it might have been, if Moonside or Summers might have led to it somehow.
Yeah, I didn't think to look at it until the very last check, which was the teddy bear on Monotoli. So that is the only thing I know. Soon we should be able to see that Gygas level though. Of course, everything is counted as under level. It's what you expect on any good run. Looks like Assistant was level 37. That's actually on the high end. I think usually tops out... I think the official, like, actual highest it can be is like 44 or something, but it's usually under 40.
Looks like we would have had to go to Monotoli to... Monotoli's would have led to Magnet Hill somehow. But yeah, I don't think I would have gone there.
Yeah, I was talking about it on the comms. It's like the next... Well, this league was incredibly linear, but the next thing that you would have had after Forsank was the entire Four-Side Dusty Dunes area, where who knows what it's going to be next.
Right.
Because you have the two checks coming out of there.
Yeah, and it looks like Yeah, that would have just been way too much time to go through, even with the sketchy Gygus.
Yeah, even with like psychically knowing where everything is, you got 8 no problem here's. Let's see me teleport bonks.
And 8 bonks. Ooh,
Oh, how
how
symmetrical.
synchronous. Yeah, I was happy to show off the flying man dialogue for you
Yeah,
there.
I was very glad to get to explain that. Um, did you know in vanilla there's something there too? If you say no, it switches between asking Ness and asking the player.
I guess I can't remember if I've seen that or not. I don't
Yeah,
know
I
why
used
I would
to.
ever say no in a video game, because it usually just leaves you, right?
Um, yeah, I used to play this game like once a year, and then I decided I'm gonna go through and actually find out what all these say no's have, and there's a lot of really good ones, including like getting Paula to watch the credits with you and all of that. Um, but I did miss one of the funniest ones is when Everdred is outside of the um, cafe. You say no, he repeats this whole thing. You say no, he repeats this whole thing. You say no, he says, "I'm not that nice of a guy." This moves on. Oh.
Well, hopefully it was a good show for everyone.
Yeah, I hope so too. My voice is already tired from rambling for an hour. Thankfully, we have change of comms coming in when we run this next one. Um, so yeah, everyone stay tuned. We should be switching in, I don't know, soonish.
That big bottle rocket was a nice find, though, from the thankful Mr. Saturn.
I didn't even notice that was where you got it.
Yeah.
I saw you use one.
And well, then I freaked out because I didn't see it in the menu, but I did found it did not roll very well. I think it only hit for like 220 something, which is not great, but
Especially against Boogie Tenth. Like, Boogie Tenth's not a speedy boss.
right.
Oh, speaking of interesting places to find items, I saw Obi check something I never see anyone check, which is the monkey in Deep Darkness, which was a repel sandwich.
Oh, yeah. I've noticed that sometimes that can be like a Jeff item, like a bazooka, even potentially.
Yeah, I think a Jeff item is its most likely thing.
Right.
They all have like a list of what it'll try to do and like pull an item out of the available pool. It's a whole
I
convoluted system. You know how I do it.
Right. Did Obi go to Deep Darkness right away, like I did?
Yeah. First pass.
Okay. Yeah, I was. It seemed like it was likely, but I guess I thought there was a chance that maybe it wasn't going to be. But the
It was.
items told me it seemed like it was likely going to be in Logic, the ones at the vendor nearby.
I see. I noticed you got those fancy yo-yos, and then immediately in Dungeon Man, there were better weapons.
Yeah, I guess that's more fodder for just not shopping, right?
I guess. I mean, I would take that shop. What are the chances of that? That shop's usually like quite good.
Yeah, and that could just as easily have been armor instead. So yeah.
Mhm. I think when it's that early in the seed, you pretty much always want to go to Deep Darkness. Like, what are the chances that it just never decides to go there?
Yeah, unless you see the shop as like multi-bottle rockets and like end game type stuff.
Right.
But even then, boy, it'd be nice to get all that stuff.
Right. It's not like there's any bosses on the way over to Deep Darkness, and like in that case, Deep Darkness might be even further in scaling. Your multi-bottle
I
rockets.
really wanted to fight one of those. When I came out of the pyramid, I saw there was a red caterpillar, and I wanted to try to fight it, but kind of glad I
Yeah,
didn't after that bear. That bear tried to kill me.
the bear reds were always pretty funny, actually. It was like, oh, right there. No, bear. I was disappointed that it was a kind of sepia bear when that bear was actually blue. Looks like Obi's having an okay time with Gygus. I say, right as Jeff falls over. I like the double life. Oh, I thought it was gonna be double life up on Paula.
Oh no, all the feeling strange is so annoying.
Yeah.
Especially
did.
now with Paula at low health.
Yeah. Oh, in fact, are they both feeling strange? That's
Yeah, both
unfortunate.
healers feeling strange is a bad place to be.
Yeah. What do you do about that? I think in this case, you just have them
Hopefully
both like
Paula,
fall. Yeah.
yeah, hopefully Paula. And I think if Paula had a healing item, I would certainly use it right now.
Yeah,
But
I like those piggy jellies. They're right there. They're super cheap. It's like 200 health. Um,
I
and
didn't see them in
sometimes,
the shop today. I ended up
oh
getting peanut
really?
cheese bars instead.
Peanut cheese bars. What on earth?
Those are
I guess that's
good enough
possible.
for Paula.
Yeah, just
Yeah,
not cheap
usually
enough health.
there is some kind of a healing item in the final shop, but I didn't notice one this
Huh.
time. I never did see OK pendants. Did anybody see? Did we see them anywhere?
I did not. Hold on, let's see if we have some technical difficulties.
Oh no. Obi just cannot get a heal.
um, okay.
Well, at least Obi did get Brain Shock on and doesn't have Flying Man to ruin it.
Yeah, it should be a lot smoother. Though, of course, it's like a 50-50 every time, so who knows if it's going to be actually any good. Okay.
One more prayer. Been sitting on 17 health the entire fight, basically.
Has he just been...
Oh, thank goodness.
Oh, there we go. All
Uh,
right. GG, Obi.
yeah, good job, Obi. Yeah, I mean, Obi, I think Obi was trying to heal, but it just never hit Paula.
Oh, that's
And
so
then gave
funny.
up eventually.
I mean, since it worked out, it's really funny. Otherwise, it would be tragic.
Right.
All right. So yeah, everyone stay tuned. We have another race coming up very shortly. Looks like they've had a little bit of technical difficulties,
Oh
so
no.
we'll see how quickly it'll be. But yeah, soon.
But thanks everyone. I'll see you in chat here for the second race.
Yeah, thanks for joining us to talk about the seed. Have a good evening.
All right.